Hello there. This is Greg Dixon with Storyvan TV, and today we have Patrick Franz from Note Investor University, and we're going to talk a little bit about notes. So, the first time I talked to Patrick and his partner Desi, they said they did note investing. I had no idea what that was. I know more about it now, so maybe you can do a little introduction here and let people know what that is and why they would want to do it.
Yes, excuse me for 1 second. I have to adjust something in my background. I don't want it to fall over when I'm on the air with you. But thanks for having me on your show, Greg. I really appreciate the opportunity. You know that Desi and I like to spread the word about this mortgage note investing. And various reasons why we recommend it, but some people on this show, they may not understand what we mean by note investing. So if you want me to give you a little breakdown on that real quick for everybody,
Yes,
I can. The best way I explain it to people, Greg, is that most folks are accustomed to what being a landlord means. And so, of course, if you're going to be a landlord, you would go buy a physical house, a physical piece of real estate, and then you would put a renter in there. And that renter would, of course, pay you monthly. And the monthly payments we're collecting as a landlord are called rent payments. And as a landlord would have it, you have all the liabilities. They call it the terrible T's that are associated with being a landlord. The terrible T's stand for termites and toilets and trash and all the rest of the troubles that are associated with being a landlord. And, a lot of people have made great money in being a landlord. A lot of people appreciate the tax write-offs that come with owning physical real estate. And so I never steer people away from doing all of it. But when we found out about mortgage note investing, some of us folks that were landlords prior or in other type of investments really had our eyes opened, wide open, that this investment vehicle exists. And what it means is a mortgage note for the folks listening is just the debt or the money's borrowed when somebody buys a house. And so the word note really is short for promissory note, which is a document that acts as a written IOU. And so I'll explain it, I guess, as easy as I can. When somebody goes to buy a house and they need to borrow money from a bank in order to do so, a mortgage note or promissory note is formed at that time. And basically, when you borrow money from a bank, you're signing the promissory note, in which has all the terms of that money that you've borrowed, the terms in how it's going to be paid back, right? And so we all fill out a promissory note when we borrow money from the bank. And that promissory note on there says the day each month that your mortgage payment is due, what your interest rate is, and other things like late payment penalties and all sorts of other things that are written in that promissory note, but is the terms of how you're going to pay back the monies borrowed. And that's what a note is. It's simply a promissory note or a written promise to pay. When we talk about mortgage note investing, we're talking about investing into one of these notes and not having the liability of being a landlord. And so as a note investor, we're going to the banks, the hedge funds, and the private sellers that hold on to these mortgages. And we're buying a mortgage, not a property. We're buying the paper. We're buying the debt. We're buying the mortgage on the property, or the promissory note, that is. When we call it mortgage note investing, it is because the promissory note is backed by real estate. And that's why we love the investment so much, Greg, because we get to buy a promissory note, and somebody, when they make their mortgage payment every month, we're collecting that mortgage payment, just like if we were a landlord collecting rent. And so we get monthly cash flow from real estate, just like the banks do, by collecting a monthly mortgage payment with interest and profit every month. And we don't have the liability that comes with owning the property. And so the T's, the toilets, the trash, the termites, the troubles of being a landlord, the phone calls, dealing with a property manager, if you have one of those, and the bad tenants, oh gosh, and all that, we just don't have to deal with it. We hold the ownership of the promissory note, and therefore we become the lender, like a bank, on that property. People pay us every month until their mortgage is paid off. Some of these are 10, 15, 20, 25, 30-year mortgages. So can you imagine collecting passive cash flow from a piece of real estate for 25 years without the 3 T's, or the toilets, the tenants, the troubles. And you get to have a very passive lifestyle. And then have real estate, Greg, as your collateral. And that's the beauty of it, right? And so the reason why we all gravitated towards notes as an investment vehicle, Greg, and the reason why Desi and I like to spread the word to people is because if you compared most investments that people are savvy about, right? And you wrote them all down on a yellow pad and just numbered them. Number 1, stock market, right? Investing in stocks in the stock market. Number 2, having your money sit in an IRA account that's in some mutual fund somewhere you don't even know about. Number 3, cryptocurrencies. Number 4, investing in properties and being a landlord, and go on and on. There's, I list 10 or 15 other investment vehicles that people can put money into that most people know about. And then I put mortgage note investing on there. And what I try to show people, Greg, is that when we compare 3 major things, which I believe people listening, if they're at all savvy with money or in investing, these are the 3 things that most investors really weigh and look for when they're making any type of an investment, right? We always talk about risk reward. And so everybody's going to look at an investment and say, well, how risky is it? Right? Some of these cryptocurrencies can make you a lot of money if you hit big on them, but also you can lose half or, 75% of your investment very quickly too. And so it's very volatile. It's very risky, and can be, and same with many different things. So people are weighing the safety or the risk factor of an investment when they get into it. Another thing people weigh is the return, right? Of course, it's if I'm investing my money, what type of a return am I going to make? Some people call that ROI or yield.
Right.
And another thing that people don't realize is very important in life, of course, is cash flow. I say that, getting $1 million gifted to you tomorrow, most people wouldn't know what to do with it. And they'd be broke again in a couple of years. And so having assets that spit off monthly cash flow is where true wealth and financial freedom come from. And so when we look at these 3 things, one of them is of course, the safety factor or the security factor, right? What kind of security do you have entering into that investment? Number 2 is the ROI or the yield. And number 3 is the cash flow. So we have security, we have better than normal yield, and we have monthly cash flow that can help you supplement your lifestyle or be compounded and invested to build more and more wealth. So look at those 3 things. And we say security, a good yield, better than normal yield, and spits off monthly mailbox money to you. Those 3 things. I always ask people, out of all the other investments I've listed on the piece of paper, can you tell me where you can find all 3 of those things in one place? And the answer normally after a little bit of contemplating is, it's tough. I don't think I can. Well, why not, Greg? The fact of the matter is that sometimes you may be able to get a better yield or a better return in some type of investment out there, but you're also usually entering into a lot more risk. And so those 2 things don't go hand in hand. We're usually high risk, high reward, or high risk, high reward, low risk, or high return, high risk, right? Low return, low risk. That's what we're used to hearing out there. Well, you get into these notes, Greg, and you've got something that's providing you the security so you can sleep at night. It's not like people that talk to me about their stocks these days, because with the way the turmoil in our government and economy is going, and people are just like, look, yeah, man, I have done well in the stock market over the past 5-8 years. It's really been on an upward run. I felt good. Everything's going great. But now I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow and check my accounts and see that I've lost half of my wealth. And so just being able to sleep at night with your money invested out there is important. Now, if you have the security of what we call collateral, generally that collateral being worth much more than you've invested, puts you in a pretty secure position. We all know what happens to us if we don't pay our mortgage payment, right, Greg? What happens if me and you don't pay our mortgage payment to Wells Fargo?
So we may lose our property.
You might lose your property. So people know it's like, hey, you got to pay your mortgage payment. Well, when you become the Wells Fargo, when you take the place and step into the shoes of being someone's mortgage lender, that's what we do in mortgage note investing. You now have their physical piece of real estate as your collateral. Although we don't try to foreclose on people, and we're not unscrupulous in our investment strategies and such, but you just know that you have the security of investing your money into a great asset, a mortgage note, that's backed by a physical piece of real estate in case anything goes haywire. So you don't normally get security like that with the second thing, which is a higher than normal return on your money or yield. So you're talking about something that's very secure, in fact, has potential upside on the security part of it. And then it comes with number two, which is a higher than normal return on your money or annualized yield that it's spitting off. So those two things oftentimes don't go hand in hand, right?
No.
Yeah.
And I have some experience with a couple of crypto things that just went poof in the night. And if you look at certain stocks and certain crypto things, it's been on a pretty steady downward trajectory for the last year, right? And so it's it's a little, that's risky too. So I understand that this is not a get rich quick scheme with the note investing, and you have to know what you're doing, really. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, actually, Greg. It's a very good point you make. I've been involved in everything you can think of, right? I'm 42 years old, and most people that meet me and see my resume and my background say, man, you got the resume and background of a 70-year-old. I've just done everything there is to do, from network marketing, multi-level marketing, to being an inventor. I have 4 patents in my name. I have a product that actually went from my brain and a sticky note to a retail product that was sold, like in Sky Mall catalog, if you remember Sky Mall catalog and all that. Yeah. But it's like, I've done so much, Greg, and most people can relate to that, right? Always trying to hustle, always trying to figure out something, and only to realize at the end of the day that there's a whole lot of scams out there. There's a whole lot of get rich quick schemes out there that maybe 1% of the people that get into it actually find the success that we're sold. Right. Yes. And the other 99% get in there, waste a whole lot of time and money, and end up being defeated. And this is most things. And I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of investors get jaded because of some of those experiences and end up sort of quitting or stopping to look for new opportunity, because they just go, it's probably a scam. It's probably a get rich quick scheme. And if anybody, I understand that very well. And what we like to say about this mortgage note investing is that certainly not a get rich quick scheme. What we call it, Greg, is we call it a get rich guaranteed plan. That's the difference. So if you compare those, a get rich quick scheme with a get rich guaranteed plan. And in my life, Greg, and the reason why I gravitated towards note investing so much is that in all my other endeavors, no one's ever really been able to place in front of me a get rich guaranteed plan. And it's a real plan that if you learn and you know what you're doing, you can stick to a plan. And within a few short years, Greg, we're talking 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, which you know how fast 3, 5, and 10 years go by as we get more gray in our beards. But the bottom line is this: you're just not going to find something that is a get rich guaranteed plan that you can see clearly down the path of where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. And usually it's a real bumpy road with a bunch of obstacles in the way and a bunch of fakes and maneuvers and shortcuts and things you have to take. In note investing, it's straightforward. It is a get rich guaranteed plan.
Yes, I've been following along with your master classes and the courses for over 2 years now, and very, very impressed with what you're teaching your students, and how you take them through all the process about how to do the due diligence and everything else that's necessary. And what I really appreciate is sometimes you help the people get involved with the notes, and if they need to get out, often you say, well, okay, if nobody else in the group will want to buy the note, we'll buy it back, or we'll buy it, or because you know what it is and you know the value of it, and you're not leaving anybody stuck. So
no, not at all. I think that the reason why we really started the Note Investor University, right, Greg, was to teach people all the expertise needed to become a note investor, whether it's to invest their own money or invest OPM, which is other people's money. But, to understand the expertise and be involved in this small niche investment category of understanding how to buy and sell these mortgage notes and build wealth for yourself. But what interestingly, what happened is that as we accumulated students into this coaching group, we found out that there's a lot more that Desi and I can provide to people, to provide more service to the people that we do serve. And it's kind of spawned, as you've seen, Greg, because you've grown with us over the last 2 years, and you've seen that, the group's really turned into more than just teaching about how to buy a note.
Yeah.
It all starts with mindset and financial intelligence, those two different things. And I personally believe, Greg, that most people will never achieve financial intelligence until they change their mindset.
Yes.
Right. The whole world has convinced us that money's hard to come by. We hear all these statements like, save it for a rainy day. And grandmas have been telling us that since we were kids, right? Save it for a rainy day and this. And literally what we've been taught, Greg, and what has formed our mindsets as adults has all been a lie. And I hate to say it that way, because some people are going to take offense because they're still stuck in that matrix. But listen, we've been trained how not to get wealthy. We've been trained how not to be innovative. We've been trained to be ants in the ant farm. And all of our schooling systems have taught us how to go and be good worker bees for the elites that own the businesses. Right. And so, I think the first thing that we help people with is change their mindset and understand that money's not hard to come by. Understand that building wealth is not difficult. But it's difficult to change a mindset that's been ingrained into you for 30, 40, 50, 60 years time. And so we help people to try to transform themselves into somebody new first, right? Change your mindset, expand your mind, don't have small thinking, and know that getting wealthy in a few short years is very possible, not impossible like we were taught. And so that's number one. And then number two, of course, is to really get into, the expertise needed to do note investing, right? We've got to have both of those in order to be able to go and transform ourselves into somebody that can build major wealth and leave a better financial legacy for our families by using these mortgage notes as the investment vehicle. But change your mindset, right? Get your mind right. Know it's possible. Get your education right, so that you can go out and do. And then you start doing, right? And the more of these mortgage notes we accumulate, the more freedom we get.
And the other thing that you and Desi teach is, if you know what you're doing, if you understand how it works, you don't necessarily need the money. Like many things, like to get into real estate, the stock market, if you don't have some multiple of $100,000, it's hard to get any progress. Whereas if you do a thing, I think you call it joint venture deals, like you find, or other people's money, if you have the expertise and the connection and the right opportunity, you can find somebody who has the money willing to invest in. Yeah,
Greg. I mean, I could go down so many rabbit holes with this one, but I'll really keep it simple for people, right? Is that, if somebody, Donald Trump. Oh, let's go there. Donald Trump's a hot subject with most people still today. But it's like, listen, when Donald Trump goes to build a skyscraper in New York, or when Donald Trump goes across overseas to build a giant golf course with Tiger Woods' name on it or something like that. Guys, Donald Trump is not taking the money that's sitting in his checking account because he's finally gotten wealthy enough to go do these things. And he's got so much money in his checking account that he's now going to go write a check and build a golf course in somewhere like that. It's not the way it works. Normally, everyone who's very wealthy, who's doing big projects, is doing it with other people's money. And again, a mindset shift, right? We didn't grow up in this. We didn't get taught this. Our grandpa didn't do it. Our dad didn't do it. Now we don't do it. So we don't think it's possible. And it's like, well, I don't know any rich people. Oh, stop with all this, right? Here's the deal. The gold will attract the money. We've known that for thousands of years. The gold attracts the money. Now, can you position yourself by changing your mindset, learning different skills, being able to provide more value to the investors out there in this world? Can you change yourself into somebody new? You can position yourself to be a gold provider, right? A gold provider. And what do I mean by that? Let's just take mortgage notes for an example, since that's what we're talking about today. But we can go down this road with, I want to buy a 100-unit apartment complex in Florida. I just don't have the money to buy this 100-unit apartment complex in Florida. Well, if I'm sourcing and finding this great apartment complex deal, and I know how to do all the skills necessary to prepare it so that I can have something to present to investors, maybe I can go raise the money and have other people's assistance in order to take down the 100-unit apartment building in Florida. The apartment building in Florida was the gold that I was able to find. And if I take that piece of gold, let's say, out to investors, that piece of gold is going to attract money. And so it's, how do you be a gold producer, or how do you be somebody that can go and present golden items to investors? That's the skills. That's the expertise you need. But let's go to notes. Let's say that there's a mortgage note that you can buy for $50,000. And it's a really great deal. And you're looking right at it. But you're saying, goodness gracious, I just don't have the $50,000. This is just on a much smaller scale than Donald Trump building a skyscraper or a golf course. This is a much smaller scale than raising money to buy a 100-unit apartment building or something like that. This is just one simple little note investment, owning a mortgage. And if you can go out there to somebody and present to them this piece of gold you have, meaning you have sourced and found a good mortgage note to buy, you have made an offer on it, you have the ability to wire the funds and close on that deal, you got gold. And that gold can be presented to investors that maybe don't have note investing in their quiver yet. See? And so you can present to somebody that they can have a secure investment that's backed by physical real estate that spits off a higher than normal return or yield. And that comes with monthly cash flow. And again, Greg, it's hard to find those three things all in one place when you look at any other investment. So it's not a hard sell. It's just somebody positioning themselves to be a person that is a professional and that can present these investment opportunities to partners. And whether it's a joint venture partnership or borrowing money, there's several different ways that you can utilize other people's money. The key is, at the end of the day, is it a win-win situation? If it's not a win-win situation, you're not going to get the deal done. But if it's a win for me as the person that was able to cultivate the gold and bring that as an opportunity to an investor, if the opportunity I'm presenting to that investor also makes a win for them, then there's some sort of a partnership that can be cultivated, right? I have the skills, I have the resources, I have the know-how, I've got everything it's going to take to complete 90% of this note investment or this apartment purchase, right? I'm the man, I'm the circus leader, but there is something I'm missing, and that is the funds. And so, if somebody's got the funds and another person's got all the expertise, know-how, and connections to provide the gold, they can come together, and both parties need each other. And so that's what we teach at the Note Investor University, Greg, is how to position yourself as somebody that has an open mindset and that knows that they can be a producer of so-called gold or items in which investors like. And then you can go out there and change your whole life. If you have your own money, IRA, 401k, an old motorhome, equity in your house, all this other stuff, access the money and put it to work so you can build your wealth. If you don't have the money, bring a great investment to somebody that does.
Yes, absolutely. So I think you, in addition to teaching this, you also offer some investment opportunities for people. For example, an apartment complex in Florida. It wasn't totally random. So, and yeah,
we do. Yeah, we do. And that's a whole nother thing about, expanding your mindset. If somebody talked to me 5 years ago and said, hey, 5 years from now, you're going to be building a 120-unit apartment complex in Florida, I would have said, sure, good one, good one. But my mind wasn't there at that time. And just by getting into the right mastermind group, Greg, just by getting around people that are doing bigger, better things than you are, you're automatically going to be drawn up the ladder in life. And so, you always being the smartest person in the room is the stupidest thing that you can ever think of being. You don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room. What will you learn from others? And you can't grow that way. And so, when I got into the note investing world, I was getting out of real estate, right? I was getting out of physical real estate and getting into the paper side of the business. And lo and behold, because I've been working full-time very hard at this investment career of mine over the past 3 years, I've run into different types of people. I've been able to surround myself with different types of friends. I've made different types of connections. So basically in the last 3 years, I've been able to become a different person. And when you do that, different opportunities will present themselves to you. It's the way the universe works. And so I'm just telling people, get into the financial world, get into the money game, learn these notes, get around people that are making investments and doing deals, because things will open up for you. And that's what happened, Greg, is that in being in this note space, excuse me, we got introduced to a great team in Florida and have tons of different properties and are going to build maybe 1,000 units in a place called Palm Bay. And so now we're on the team and we're going to do this together over the next 5-8 years, depending on what happens with the economy and such, of course. But our first little warm-up project with these guys is building 120 units in Palm Bay, Florida. And I would have never had that opportunity, and I wouldn't have been prepared or been in position to accept that opportunity if I hadn't been making big changes for the past 3 years.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Like on the Saturday master classes, you often have a guest and in different areas, different kinds of investments, sometimes lawyers, accountants, a bit of expertise. And I think Desi said that sometimes they learn more from the students and, they learn a lot because everybody comes with a different perspective. And I think it's just a fabulous opportunity. So how do you suggest, what's the best way for somebody to start with this process of learning about note investing?
I mean, it's like anything, Greg. It's getting yourself in the game. That's my first thing. Get yourself in the game.
Yeah.
Number one, period. End of story. Don't wait until the next week goes by. I mean, time is fleeting. Our one little short life we have here on the planet is going by quickly, right? And so the procrastinators, don't need them. Just keep procrastinating and figure out if you're in a different place in your life next year. Keep doing the same things, keep repeating the same habits and the same daily schedules, and don't acquire any new skills or anything like that. And I promise you'll be in the same exact place you're in now financially within the next 3 or 5 years. Same, thinking, gosh, how come I never get any wealthier? How come I never have anything working out for me financially? It's because you're doing the same things that haven't been working out for years.
Yes.
But that's, the mastermind group is a good place for people to get in the game, right? There's folks in this industry that are charging $20, $30, up to $50,000 to teach people this investment class. And some people just, number one, don't have that money. Some people, that's all the money they've got and they're looking to invest it. And so Desi and I created the mastermind group, which is only $149 a month. And there's no sign up fee or long-term contract. It's just a monthly membership to be a group of. As long as people want to remain a member, they do. They cancel. It's no big deal. But we want to create an environment where every Saturday we meet from 8:30 to 10 a.m. And like you said, we're teaching more than just note investing. We're teaching shift in mindset. We're teaching people confidence that they never had. Obvious note investing expertise and skill sets, because that's our group is focused around note investing. But how about how to leverage a whole life insurance policy to build your own family bank and then borrow that money back out to invest into things? How about tax write-offs and legalities? How about foreclosures and what you do on those? And so, I mean, from everybody from the life insurance folks to professional note investors, loan servicing companies, foreclosure attorneys, and I could go down the list, but the who's who of the note investing world and the who's who of the financial industries are guests on these calls. And the beautiful thing is we leave the last 20 minutes of every Saturday call open to live Q&A. And so if somebody can't afford one-on-one coaching with a guru and pay thousands, if somebody can't afford to get into some extravagant coaching program and such, we provided this group. It's $149 a month. It's about a price of someone's cell phone bill. They get in there and they get networking with other professional investors. Since there's 50, 60 people that show up on these calls every Saturday, they get to add all of these industry experts to their Rolodex. I know that ages me, but to their contacts list. And then get coaching, and it is one-on-one, so to speak, but it isn't a group environment. And what I like about that, Greg, is that every time in the last 20 minutes of these Saturday sessions, when we open up for Q&A, it's a brilliant thing that some students will have very awesome questions to ask. And either myself or my partner, Desi, or even the guest speaker, the professional that's on there, will help provide answers to those questions. And man, it's so neat to see how many of the other group members benefit from just being on the call and listening to other people asking questions and getting those questions answered. So it's a plethora of information. It isn't a group setting, but you do get to ask questions and have live coaching. And it comes with over 200 hours of these master calls that are archived And people that join our mastermind group on a monthly basis get access to every mastermind call we've done. And it's been going on for well over 3 years now.
No, it's been great. I go pretty much every Saturday, and I really enjoy. Desi usually has some little presentation that often doesn't have anything to do with notes, but it's about mindset or life, how to enjoy your life, or passion, or something like that. So it's little words of wisdom, and I get a lot out of it. And there's on scrolling on there. People can go to noteinvestoruniversity.com to learn more about it. And also, I think they can make an appointment with you to talk. And there's some free resources. And if you reach out to me, I can arrange for you to come as a guest on a Saturday, and just come and see what it's all about, and see who the guest is. And there's always a lively discussion, and welcome to come check it out, see if it's for you.
Yeah. Noteinvestoruniversity.com. And there's a place there you can schedule a free consultation at the bottom of our homepage, and get my calendar link if anybody has questions about note investing. And we would love to help you and love to have you as a part of the group. And hopefully you change your life financially, like myself and my partner have done. And that's really why we're doing this for people, Greg. There's plenty of money out there, and Desi and I can't garner it all. And there's plenty of notes out there to go around. Desi and I can't get them all. And we need other people to break out of the matrix. We need other people to understand that there's a better way. There's an easier financial future, and we can help you get there.
Yeah. And you have another passion involving clubs, right? You like the golf.
Yes. I've been an avid golfer for over 20 years now. I was on a national television show on CBS and PGA Tour Network back in 2003, when I was really not that good of a golfer. So that's the funny part of it. Ironically, got on a golf television show when I was about a 15 handicap. Now I'm about a 7 or 6.57 handicap, but I love golf. And I know where you're going with this, so I don't know if you want to continue with it or if you want me to roll.
So one of the funniest things is, because you have you've got the weekly masterclass, and then you have a curriculum to go through everything you need to know about the note investing, everything, all the modules. But you have a master's program, which involves much more hands-on work with you and Desi, and a certification at the end of it. Mm-hmm. And I think that for somebody to get through, they have to actually be doing the business, right, in order to get certified. But one of the things is that you offer is go golfing with you in San Diego.
Yeah. I mean, those programs that we have, you're exactly spot on, right? We have that mastermind group where we meet every week on Saturdays, and there's tons of extra benefits to be in that mastermind group. We have the second program, which is the Note Investor University, where we try to get somebody to be a pro note investor as quickly as possible. There's 6 course modules, final exams, one-on-one coaching, and 12 months automatic membership into the mastermind group that comes with that program. And then the master's program, which is literally like somebody that wants to be a black belt in note investing, right? Somebody that wants to be the most bad ace in note investing and be able to hold their own and make it something that they do part-time or full-time for the rest of their lives. And so those are the 3 different programs. And, but I actually got this from a guy named Ryan Pineda. And if people don't follow him, he's got a huge following on YouTube and other social media. But I thought it was so cool because Ryan Pineda is a big coach in the real estate and flipping world. And he lives out in Las Vegas, where there's a bunch of beautiful golf courses. And I'm pretty sure that he's a private member of one of the exclusive country clubs out in Vegas. And I saw him offer to people that want to come out to Las Vegas and visit with him and play golf with him, that he would take them to his country club, and they could have 4 hours and then another, like maybe sit down with a cocktail and an appetizer in the country club after. But it's like 4 to 6 hours of you just being with Ryan Pineda, and you could ask him anything you want about his businesses, about real estate, and he'd basically coach you while playing golf, and then sit down with you in that. So I kind of stole it from him. So thank you, Ryan Pineda, if you're out there. But I love that. And of course, I don't charge anywhere near as much as Ryan Pineda does, but for a small fee, anybody who wants to pick my brain for 4 to 6 hours can get themselves to, which is a bummer, get themselves to sunny San Diego, California, where I live.
It's a rough life.
Rough life. Better in Vegas, guys. We don't have to golf in 110 degree temperatures out here, but you can get yourself to San Diego, come for a weekend vacation with your family or what have you, but you pick a day, maybe it's a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday or whatever, and I will take you to my country club. We'll go play golf. Afterwards, we'll have a cocktail and appetizer, whatever your flavor is, and you get to pick my brain and ask me anything about my life, my business, or note investing for 4 or 5 hours. And it's a small fee for that type of attention, and we get to have a little fun at the same time. So if you're a golfer and you want to come hang with me and pick my brain, yeah, that's available. And it's actually not something I've put on the Note Investor University site. I don't think. Did I, Greg?
I thought it was there.
And if it's not, you guys can go to the notementor.com. The notementor.com is just my personal branded website. But yeah, schedule golf with me. Or you know what? If you have questions about that or my schedule on when you can do that, schedule that free phone consultation with me at noteinvestoruniversity.com.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you very much. I have a little story. A few years ago, I was listening to a presentation by a woman in London, England, Shaw Wesmond. And at the end of it, she said, if you sign up in the next 5 minutes, fly to London. I'll send a car to pick you up and we'll have lunch. And I was so close to doing that.
It's all worth it. Listen, the best investment, we're here talking about investments. We're talking about note investing as a certain type of investment vehicle. But remember, to everybody listening out there, you have to for surely own in your heart and mind that the best investment is in yourself. The best investment is for you to change into somebody new, acquire new skills, learn things you didn't know before, right? And become a different person that can provide more value to the marketplace. The marketplace I speak of is simply other human beings on the planet.
Yeah.
And if you can get yourself to do that, you can change your life dramatically, very quickly. And so that's what we preach. And yeah, man, somebody wants to come play golf in San Diego, California and pick my brain about my life or notes investing. I would love to do that. It's a blast.
Yeah. Well, next time I'm down in San Diego, I might go golfing with you, but I'm a terrible golfer.
You can just come ride in the golf cart and have a cocktail after. That'd be
fun. Yeah. Designated drinker. I don't know.
Designated drinker driver. There you go. But
right.
Yeah, I recommend that people really learn about note investing, because once it's kind of like riding a bike. Once you've got all the expertise, the know-how, and you get yourself in the game, you don't have to learn how to pedal anymore. You don't have to learn how to steer, put the brakes on anymore. Once you know how note investing works, it is something that you're going to want to keep in your quiver for the rest of your life until the day you die. And it could be supplemental. It could be something to where you do a house flip and then you take all the profits from a house flip and then buy a note, go do another house flip, buy another note. Could be something you want to get into full time. Could be getting your money out of a stagnant IRA or a scary stock market and putting into something more secure. It could be doing it very simply part-time. It could be just buying one note because that's how much money you've got. Or it could be a full-time endeavor. It could be something to where you start leveraging your own money, other people's money, providing more services or serving more people on the planet, helping others to get what you want. And that's the way it works. And so I strongly, strongly advise people learn how to invest in mortgage notes and have it as a part of their portfolio. If not, like we did, getting out of most other things entirely and getting straight up into notes, because I haven't found a better investment vehicle, Greg. And if anybody, I put this challenge out, Greg, for fun to anybody who listens to your show here. If anybody could call me, schedule the free 15-minute consultation at noteinvestoruniversity.com, get on the phone with me, and please open my mind. Again, it's about opening your mind and becoming somebody different. What you don't know, you don't know. And now, Greg, I don't know any other investment that can be better than notes, with the security, the monthly cash flow, the better than normal yield, and all of that together in one place. Challenge you, anybody listening, please call me and tell me how I'm wrong. Please tell me if there's another investment that provides all of this in one place. And I would love to know about it. I'll put some money over there. Trust me.
I don't think you'll find it. I think one of the key things that you've talked about a number of times is you really want to keep your money moving and flowing, because you've got an investment and it's got some cash flow coming back, but you're immediately turning that around into something else and getting that to grow. So nothing's just sitting in the bank earning zero. So
no, money should be thought of as your soldiers and you're going to war. I mean, that's what dollar bills should be thought of. I mean, every time I get a dollar bill, I've acquired a new warrior to my army. And that's what I think of. If you're a warrior, or if you're control an army of warriors, you send them into battle. It is to go and win a battle, hopefully not lose a battle. And so,
There
you
we
know,
go.
think of your dollars are little warriors, and are you going to send them out into the world to battle, and their goal in their battle is to bring you back more dollars? And so for every dollar I send out into the world as my soldier, I want them to go capture 3 other dollars for me and bring it back to camp. And so you got to think of it that way. And if you have your soldiers sitting around, they're just going to get fat and lazy. And when it's time to go into battle,
hanging out at Starbucks.
Be ready. Yeah. And Greg, you said it yourself. It's called cash flow. I wonder if anybody ever thought of that statement.
Yeah.
And compared it to water.
Yeah.
You know, if a stream continues to flow, it continues to be wet and plentiful. If a stream continues not to flow, the entire thing dries up. So you got to think of your money as always being in motion. Your money has to be in flow. Otherwise, it'll dry up.
It will dry up. Yeah. Money's in flow. Anyway, okay, I'm going to play this little video at the end here, and I hope some people come and make an appointment with you, and we'll see if we can get some folks out on Saturday to see what it's all about. And it was great for you to come and talk to us today, Patrick. Thank you.
I really appreciate the opportunity, and I hope I helped open some people's minds to something new, and that they sure feel free to reach out to me. Don't be afraid. I don't bite. And if you have any questions, schedule that free consultation, and I'll be happy to help you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.